Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I am Tabitha Brown. This is my husband.
And Chance, what's up? Watch why you swinging that hair.
It was intentional. Bring the beat in. Fridays with Tab and Chance. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Fridays with Tab and Chance. I was gonna see if you was gonna initiate the beat, but you didn't. So that leads us to today's topic. Our conversation is about who out here initiating the sex. Put them kids to bed, because it's finna get real in here, okay? We have talked in the past about gender roles,
Lingerie,
Lingerie.
Who should purchase, and
all these things. And it led us back to a conversation about sex, okay? And who should be initiating, if there is a who should be initiating, why we initiate, what causes us to not initiate.
well, I think it's pretty obvious why you initiate, but go ahead.
No, baby. You gonna be?
What?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
JR is passing out behind his camera.
Hey, look.
Let's just say,
I
we
mean, I
ain't
think
even
it's
got
pretty
started
obvious.
yet.
I'm gonna say, listen, look.
You wanna
forgot
be
something.
nasty.
Look, me and Tab have had. We recently had not an argument, but a heated discussion about the initiation.
The great initiation.
The great initiation of sex. And
After
I
25
think it would.
years.
I thought it would be an interesting topic to go over, because in a lot of my, with a lot of talking of my male friends, what I have learned is that males, we don't deal with rejection well. These are uncomfortable conversations for most. So I thought it would be good. I was like, all right, yeah, let's try to navigate these waters and see what we get. And after the conversation that me and Tab had, I said, okay, I guess this is something that we need to discuss on the platform and see what people take away from it. So let me tell y'all. So Tab came to me, and the question came up of why I don't initiate as often as in our earlier years, and told me, in doing so, just like in any other marriage, she was telling me, and what I'm trying to tell myself why she's telling me this is not to get offended while getting offended, right? That's just normal. I'm rehearsing in my head, like, don't get offended, don't get offended, don't get offended. So half the stuff, I'm hearing everything, but I ain't really hearing it, right? And at the end of JR, pull it together. JR back here laughing, y'all. That's why.
He didn't want to get a tissue and everything.
Right.
He
That's why I keep pausing. Right. So
we ain't even got into it.
We ain't got into it yet, JR. Let me get into it. So while trying not to get offended, while getting offended and listening to this laundry list.
That's that another topic too.
Of what I'm not doing or what I don't do anymore, right? I had to, and I'm gonna be honest with you. As a man, it is very. It's not offensive. It is. Don't nobody want to hear that they ain't doing something in their marriage, right? I don't really know what you want to call that, but sometimes you got to ask yourself, is it true? And after I heard her, I said, well, you know what? she ain't really said nothing that is true. What I'm offended by is what I'm hearing and everything she said was true.
Oh, okay. You said I didn't say nothing that was.
Wasn't true.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't do that, Tab.
No,
Don't
you
do
got to
that.
get the ENT on it.
Wasn't.
Okay.
She didn't really say anything that wasn't true.
All right.
I think what I'm offended by is how we got to this point, right? How I got to this point. And in a nutshell, how we got to the point, why we got to the point wasn't, at the end of it, wasn't as important as, okay, now we're here, what are you gonna do about it? I wanna say that first, right? But it does not change the fact that I needed to be heard, right? So I told her, right, with a little venom, okay, all right, cool, all right, I accept your challenge, I hear you, I'm gonna do it. And she's like, Chance, I can tell you mad. I'm like, I ain't mad.
Look at his nose flaring up right now. That's how the nose.
I ain't mad. I told you what you want to hear. I told you I'm gonna do it, right? I ain't mad. I told you. Hey, look, okay. You know, that was me. I ain't gonna lie about it. That's where I was at with it. So she kept at it to find out why. Where is this, energy coming from, right? And after I started to prepare myself, because she wouldn't let up on it, what I realized is that I was like, it was difficult for me to say to her, I don't like rejection. That's hard for a lot of men, right? And I know because I got guys in my life that we've had these conversations, and I'm like, well, what did you say? I ain't say nothing. But then, and they'll tell their boys, they don't like rejection. And after rejecting, what I mean by that is, just so people out there understand, you don't like being turned down. Men, I know me, I don't like being turned down. And it's difficult to accept the fact that that's a part of it. That's a part of marriage, that it ain't gonna always be on the table, right? So what you will do, or what I had did, is I just was like, all right, when she's ready, I'm gonna be ready and available. And that was my excuse, right? To not do anything, right? And she reminded me of something that I said to her one time, which I felt like, but I get it. I'm gonna stay focused right here. She used my own words against me. Right?
I thought they were brilliant words.
Yeah, don't, wait a minute. I ain't done talking.
I was just saying, I thought you were brilliant.
What were the brilliant words?
It doesn't give you an excuse to do nothing.
Doesn't it give me an excuse to do nothing?
Go ahead.
Well, she was right. So, not in the argument, but in the discussion, as I was preparing myself or gathering my thoughts to tell her where she was very thankful that I said I would work on it, right? But she was trying to figure out why did it seem like I had an attitude, right? So I told her, I said, give me a minute. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna tell you. So, right. So after I gathered, and in my inner thoughts, I just realized that I don't like the feeling of telling somebody I don't like rejection. And where I have rested at is, if I'm ready when you're ready. If I'm ready when you're ready and I never reject you, I should be awarded some brownie points. I should be looked at, right, differently, right? Because I don't too often reject you, right? So that's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. And then when I expressed that to her, it's like, so I just kind of took a back seat and was like, hey, this is what it is. We had to go down a road. What was the road? What was the road after I told you that?
What you mean, like what?
After I said I've got to this place because of the rejection.
Right. And I had to say, yeah, but you're talking about years ago, right? So this is the thing. There was some years of dealing with moving, right? Going through sickness with my mama. The rockiest time of our relationship, being together but not together. and then things getting better, but then me getting sick, right? And so during that time, Chance was not always emotionally available when I needed him to be emotionally available, right? And there's a difference in like how I'm emotional versus his emotions versus physical. When I need emotion, he need physical. So there was a time period where sex was the last thing on my mind. I was exhausted. I didn't feel well mentally or physically. So if he tried to initiate, I'd be like, babe, right? And he got that rejection in his mind was like, man, I'm just gonna not initiate, right? But we talking about, and so what I had to tell him, I said, hey, babe, I've been good though for the last 6 years. Hey, I've been good. So you can't use the old excuse of you was just waiting on me to feel well or be open to it. You can't. That's old. Now you using that as an excuse to do nothing. We going on 6 years now of me being on a healing journey, a very feel-good journey, and I've been doing a whole lot of initiating. And I think you're using that as an excuse. And I think when I said that, and I was saying it just in the same tone, we weren't arguing. He did get like, and I was like, well, babe, why are you so up there? Like, I really was trying to understand it because I had become confused by it, right? And as a woman, and this is important, I know men have their insecurities and stuff too, but as a woman, we'll start to think, I'm not attractive. Is it my body? Is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there, something wrong with me while you're not initiating? The thing that kind of kept me away from that was what he just said, though. He ain't never turning it down. It's like as soon as remember we told you about the bonnet? If he don't see it, he like, oh, tonight. Like,
It'll be a long
he
night.
always ready, right?
Yeah, let's go.
But it still has to be me putting the play into position. And I was like, I need some romance. Like, I need for you to do the thing, right, more often than what you're doing. I can't be the only one doing it. And so that's why the conversation happened. But what I told him, I was like, I didn't take it into consideration that was so deep inside of you. But it's been years now. We're going to have to release that and let it go. But if I hadn't said nothing, I don't know how much longer we would have went with the same routine. Because listen, I don't mind initiating, okay? But I also,
Hey.
like to be initiated on.
Yeah, and listen, look, so it's something tough to hear, right? But also when you get comfortable in your relationship and the dynamics, right? And we always constantly talking about change. The dynamics were what they were. The dynamics were because of everything that she said. And now there's a change, right? So when I heard it, I had to process like, okay, well, this is how we've been doing it, and we've been cool. It's difficult to hear that and then and not hear, not necessarily that you're doing something wrong, right? So I had to go and process it to hear what she was trying to say. It's like, okay, I know you adjusted. I know everything that you're saying is not saying that it's not true. And I think where I was listening to it, I'm like, I think I was hearing it was wrong. You're wrong. You shouldn't have done that, or I'm not acknowledging that. But it was actually saying, yeah, you're right. But now we're in a different space. Let's do something different, right? And you can't be intimidated by it, which I think is difficult for us as men to process what we're hearing and then there's an intimidation associated with the processing of it, that your partner's not getting something that they need. So we had a discussion about it. It was a little uncomfortable, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like we navigated through it. And then the other part is it was comfortable for me. Right?
he ain't have to do nothing.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, she done turned into a little horny toad.
That's what he called me. And I said, now wait a minute. Now, you done made me become this.
No, hey, look, man.
Because I have to be out here initiating all the time. I don't mind it, okay?
Yeah.
But you know.
Then I had to remind her, well, Tab, you doing a whole lot of it.
Because I'm tired of waiting.
What? You doing a whole...
Hey, I got stuff to do too.
Yeah.
I ain't finna wait. Hey, if I sit in the bed and wait on him, I might doze off. I gotta go on in here and hit him with the, hey, babe, you ain't going to sleep here. She's like, what's up?
And I looked at that as being considerate, right? Whereas in the past, I'm like, hey, I don't want to be looked at as inconsiderate. That woman that worked all day, I done seen her schedule is compiled. So now you coming to me talking about.
Let me work this off real quick.
Whereas if I would have said that 10 years ago, it would have been the most insensitive thing in the world
because
to
we
say.
are forever changing.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that, you know, to your defense, and like I told you, like when we had the conversation, we had some very rough years.
Yeah.
Like, y'all will never know the full extent of how rough of some years that we had to get here.
That's right.
Right? If y'all had been witness to it, y'all would be like, ain't no way Tab and Chen's still together. And it ain't no way. Right? Some things ain't y'all business. But we went through a lot to get to this happy, peaceful, joyful place in our marriage. And some of those rejections weren't just of nah, babe, I don't feel like it. It was, what is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. You don't see me? Like, it became headbutt arguments, terrible arguments, because you feel invisible to your partner, which caused a lot of layers of fear.
And damage.
And damage, right?
Yeah.
That can take 6 years to unpack.
And damage works both ways.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work where it's just a male or a female thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think I came to terms with in me expressing to her how I got to that point.
Yeah.
It can be damaging. The rejection can be damaging, whether you think it is legitimate or not. It can do damage to that, to where it's like, okay, well, I won't do it, right? So then you got to unload that. You got to unpack all of that, and you got to be understanding from both aspects of like, okay, well, you see it like this, I see it like that, and two things can be right, right? It doesn't mean that one of us is wrong or one of us is right. We can both be right in how we got to this point. And that's where I think we landed, where it was like, okay, you're right. I shouldn't be doing this. And she's like, you're right. I can see why you're doing this, right? But we both had to come to an understanding of like, all right, now what we're going to do now? This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to pursue it.
Let me tell you though, after we had this deep conversation, the next day, it was very good.
They didn't.
No, what I'm saying is, sometimes you gotta have these hard conversations.
Babe, this ain't they business.
To get to the very
You gonna have these old ladies in my DM again.
But what I'm saying is,
I don't want none of them now, bitches.
But what I'm saying though, seriously, sometimes you'll have these hard conversations that have been brewing for a long time. You've been avoiding, not wanting to have them. You finally have this conversation that may be uncomfortable. It may even feel a little hard in the moment of the conversation, but it brings you closer together if you're both open and willing to do the work on what you're conversing about, right? Sex is a big part of a relationship.
Absolutely.
It's a huge part. There's a lot of different dynamics in a relationship, but sex is one of the things that you bond in, right? It brings you, there's nothing that can bring you closer physically, right? And when you can have a conversation that can bring you closer emotionally, mentally, and physically, baby, you be like, what's something else hard that we ain't talked about? Is there any other conversations?
I'm thinking about, all right, so
know?
Tab, before you go, you about to do something.
I won't finish
Yeah, you is.
I
And I
wasn't,
feel
baby.
like it's important
I was just trying to tell
for
you.
the 30-year-old, right, the younger,
Well, how was when we got married? We was 20,
3, 4.
24?
Yeah.
I always forget how old I was. I just know how long we've been doing it.
Well, I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
how the changes happen, how life presents itself, and then too, we're coming to terms with it, the difference between male and female, and how we deal with our emotions and our physical. I know it's more common, for men. I ain't gonna speak for all men, but I'm just saying for most men, they deal with their emotions through their physical. We deal with them through our physical, right? First to get to our emotional side, and then it's kind of vice versa. And I'm not here to tell you. I'm just here to learn your partner, be patient with them. It can come off as you can't handle all your issues with sex, right?
Absolutely not.
You cannot handle all your issues with sex. However, there is a difference. And depending on where you are in your age and all of that stuff, the drive is higher. It's higher, right? Yeah. And I know with me coming home and initiating it, it was something different. It was the most peaceful moment, and this is how stress was resolved, right? And that was in 30s, right? It wasn't until I got to a little older and then us going through some things and realizing the difference between me and you. These days, everybody talking about their love language and they being more, open about it. I don't know if it still applies, but I ain't hear nothing about no love language and how to do none of that when me and you was coming up. It was more so like, hey, look.
What's the love language?
What's up?
Yeah.
Man, I had a long day. What's happening? And you like, are you kidding me?
I mean, I think that
all right, but you
people
just
say
gotta,
that women are emotional creatures, men are physical creatures. Like you hear that, and that kind of explains it. Like that used to be your way of relieving stress. And when we were younger, I'd be like, whatever you need. Like I'm not even thinking about it because I also didn't know who I was. You know what I'm saying? I also didn't know who I was yet as a woman.
So then as you start, that's a good point. That's what I was trying to say. So when you start out like that, right, that early, no kids, everything, you willing to do whatever to make sure that your partner is happy, right? Then life presents itself, and he still in that mind frame, and life presents itself. Just remember, not to go along with it, but remember how you started, and that life is presenting itself, but how you view life, because you're male and female, can be different, and how you navigate life and do all that stuff can be different.
Well, also,
so have a little bit of patience.
As you change.
Yeah, as you change.
Right? We've been together since we was 19. Listen, as Kev was, I ain't gonna hold you, okay? That first year that we lived together.
Watch out now, your daddy watching.
This is what it is, this my husband.
Your daddy watching.
It wasn't a day. I remember we did 365. No days off. Just nasty. Just out in the world. Yeah. But you like a little rabbit in your that's what it is. It's like it won't know, oh my God, is that time of the month? It was
they don't even know everything.
I mean, I'm just saying.
You got these people
that's how your mind.
But you just say that. Don't tell these people. Don't tell these people all that business.
I'm just saying.
They don't need to know everything.
But I want the people to understand.
No, but I think they do. I believe they do.
I'm just saying, it was all
I
the
believe
time.
they do that. They don't need to know
There was
everything.
no second thought. It was like, yep. It was even unsaid. You didn't even. It won't even know initiate. You woke up and that was initiate. It was like, you woke. I'm woke. Listen, me and Chance used to have plans to go somewhere.
Tap, they get it.
I think Beyonce also owe us money for this.
Babe, they get it. They get it. Don't go no further. They get it. Y'all get it. So look.
No, I'm just saying.
No, they got it.
Okay, but
Let it be. Beyonce don't owe us nothing. Leave it alone.
But let me
go.
just finish. What I'm saying
No,
is,
you finished
when
already.
you're young, well, back then, it was like that because life hadn't even really gotten started, right? We 19, 20, 21. Then after the first child that we had together, things shifted, right? I was trying to get used to a new body, but I still was ready, right? You supposed to wait 6 weeks. We didn't wait. But what I'm saying is, we still young. You know what I'm saying? And there's still this thing of like, ooh, I'm ready. Time starts to pass, age comes in, children start to grow, work becomes more,
life,
stress becomes more, financial issues become, all these things start to happen, death starts to strike. Sex ain't the thing that's fixing nothing. It ain't even relieving stress for me. You know, maybe it still was working for him, but now the thought of it was stressful for me. Because then it becomes I know he want to do it and I don't feel like it, but I also don't want to cause an argument. I don't want him to feel bad. So there was many times it was like trying to get my mind in a place for my husband.
And then they start passing out what the men like to call it sympathy booty.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want no sympathy booty.
And then eventually you start catching on and realizing, wait a minute, this was sympathy.
This is sympathy. This ain't no.
But it wasn't really sympathy, it was peace for me. I was like, Lord, let me try to keep the peace. But I didn't realize that I was also damaging myself by doing that here. Because then I started thinking, he don't care about how I feel. Now that made me not want it even more, right? These are the things that we didn't talk about, that we went through years.
And brushing over.
Brushing over.
If we did talk about it, it was not talk. It was
an argument.
Yeah.
Because you didn't talk about it, it led up to an argument, right? And so I joke about it, and you know, we have these conversations and we can laugh and joke now. But the reality is, some relationships don't survive because of these types of things. You know, it's not sex, it's the whole dynamic around it. It's that you didn't think enough of me emotionally, physically, what my body is going through, what my mind is going through. You were more concerned about this. That took precedence over me, right? Because those conversations weren't had. That's why people stop initiating.
And then on the other end of that, right? Let's say you do survive.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Or you exist and it swings, right? And then there's no consideration to how you got to the point where he doesn't initiate and do all this, and then you start saying, well, my man don't do this, he don't do that, and you get what I mean? So, and then there's not a conversation there. So as a conversation is gonna need to be had, patience is gonna need to be had, and you can get ahead of it if you probably try to get at the beginning of it as opposed to waiting
until it blows up. And we had to learn that the hard way, right? Being together for so long, we done been through all the cycles of, I ain't gonna talk about it, letting it build up, and then boom, now it's a big fire. Where now it's like, let me talk to you real quick. This is how I'm feeling right now. Like, can we talk about it? But that's growth.
Yeah.
It's age, it's life experience, which is another reason why I always tell, you know, we both tell our kids, like, I mean, you can be in love at a young age. You in your 20s, if you want to, you know, find love and be married in your 20s, great. If that's what you want. But we encourage you to get to know who you are first.
Man.
And wait. before you get into a relationship that you think that you want to be in and you don't know who you are. And sometimes, listen, I get it. You might have to discover who you are while you're in your relationship, which we both had to do. And nothing is wrong with that. But I think that if you can really know who you are and really like date yourself, love yourself, and really get to know who you are before you get in a serious relationship, it's easier for you to communicate, hey, this is something I don't enjoy this, or I don't like this, or this is actually what I need.
Or I don't like it no more.
I've changed, right? And that's something else that we talk about, things that we used to like to do. I don't really like to do that no more.
Don't do that no more.
Right? And I also been thinking about I want to try this, you know? And we also got to be.
What you trying to try? You heard that? You trying to listen? We're doing that crazy.
What you want to try, babe? See how you just went there and I won't even go in there.
Nah, you just.
You see that?
I see how you slipped that in. Getting, I want to try. What you try?
Now you know I got a bad neck. I ain't even trying to do all that. But I'll try if I got to get my Biofreeze on the nightstand.
They'll put your ass out of commission for 2 weeks. And then you gonna hold me accountable. We out of the way. You ain't tried nothing, Tab. You got a whole brace on your neck. You ain't.
You know what I just thought about?
You said, man, you ain't even Chance.
Hey, listen, me and Chance, boy.
You ain't initiated. Tab, you got a whole cast on your leg.
Over the years, boy, we've been together a long time, so we done tried some things. And boy, we got some stories that just took me to,
Hush.
All I was gonna say was, I learned very early on I'm very sensitive.
All right.
You can't.
Time to wrap this on up.
You can't. We can't put nothing down.
JR, you give her an inch. Give her an inch. You see it right there?
Just get the
Wrap
ice.
it up. Wrap it up.
Get the ice. Okay, see, babe, you should just let me finish what I was trying to tell the people. I was in a good headspace. You took me out of.
Nah, they done.
Anyway.
We didn't help these people enough. All right. So look, both of y'all need to be initiating.
Listen, everybody should be initiating romance.
Not everybody, babe. You got some. It's.
Yeah, husbands. I'm saying in their partnership, however it is, in your partnership, you both should be initiating. It shouldn't be one-sided.
Okay, yeah, both.
Right?
I just don't like the way you say everybody. Like, man, they got a whole bunch going on in the business.
If that's what y'all want to do, that's y'all business. That ain't what we talking about.
They got a whole lot going on.
If that's y'all business, that's y'all business, okay? But what I'm saying is, it is a dual party, right? Everybody has a job. We all should be making our partner feel attractive, desired, wanted, sexy, all the things that you desire to feel, from your partner. So I feel like that's all I'm saying. Like everybody should play their role sometimes. Sometimes you got to be the one that's being submissive, and sometimes you got to be the one that's taking charge. That was that. I shouldn't have said it that way.
I like the voice you use with that.
That's what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm like, get in the bed. Take them drawers off.
You ain't gonna get no action. None.
That's what. Hey, listen. Now, before I had the conversation with you, I thought about doing it. I said, I know. I'm gonna show him. Let me have to initiate one more night. I'm gonna be like, hey. I'm gonna act like you. Hey, I'm going to sleep.
I'm like, I didn't care your ass.
That would have stopped it real quick. You'd have been like, wait a minute now, babe, what's going on?
They're going to sleep, girl. Wait till my wife get back.
But no, seriously, y'all, make sure that you're having open dialogue, even when it's an uncomfortable conversation. You're with your partner. Like, you have signed up to be together until death do you part, right? And these are hard conversations, but if you can get through them, you can also get to a point where you can laugh about them, where you can talk about it with other people, with your friends, with with the world as we are, so that you can still be in a healthy marriage, a healthy partnership?
I gotta say this.
What?
Okay. Guys and women. I'm only speaking to guys because this is what I usually hear from a lot of married men and single, or guys in relationships. All right, it's difficult to to face rejection. You should. So when this conversation comes up, this right here always comes out. I shouldn't have to tell her that I want to be desired. I shouldn't have to tell her that I want her to. She can't keep telling me no. And then this is usually what, in some form or fashion, comes after that. You know what I can get? I'm a good dude.
Hey,
wait a minute, hold
Kim
on.
and Melissa talked about that.
I could. Okay. Stop thinking about what you can get. Think about what you got. Think about what you want to keep. Get over that. You should be able to tell your partner, hey, look, I don't feel like you desire me. I want to be desired. And that should make you feel lesser than a man. You should be able to say that easily to your partner. If this is your soulmate, or if this is somebody you found worthy to share a space with, whether it be for a year, 2 years, temporary, or you're sharing space with them, right? Intimate space. You should be okay with being able to say that. Don't think about what you can get, because that's only going to fuel something that does not breed success. Forget about it. I've heard it probably 100 times. Man, I can. Now you say that in a comfortable space with your guys, right? But learn how to address that and just say, this is what I got, and I want to keep it. So I need to be able to go and say it without feeling like, and on the other end too, because somebody else told me that this was a response when they did say that. Be mindful, ladies, of when your husband or your boyfriend or whatever the person is opening their heart and they're showing that vulnerability, not to cut them down. Don't tell them they sound weak. Don't tell them, you know what I mean? Listen to how you that's not what a man said. Don't say stuff like that, because that's a kind of damage or a kind of scar that you won't, that I worry you will never be able to repair, that will never heal. Listen to what he's saying, whether you agree or not. Just listen, right? And then move from a space of love. That's all.
Normalize allowing men to be vulnerable and supporting their vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Hey, that was good, babe.
Yep.
I got
right there. Stay focused. Close it out.
Oh, because we was just saying.
Close it out.
I ain't never did that.
No, you ain't did that to me, but.
No, I know. I'm just saying. You ain't never said that to me either. Like, you know what I can get, because you know what you got. And in case you don't, I was gonna give it to you.
Close this out so we can go on now.
We're gonna go and close it out, because.
She gonna be the first one. JR said, "I didn't get nasty."
You started this. All right, y'all. We love you. We wish you all healthy relationships, healthy marriages, healthy partnerships, and a healthy sex life full of uncomfortable conversations made good. Okay? Very good. All right. If you want the shirts, like that, God is Love, they're on my website. I am TabithaBrown.com under the merch. And until next time, y'all go about y'all business. We're going to go on about ours.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. We love y'all. God bless y'all. See you next time.
Peace.
Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget to click here for more episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Very good.